Steve.
March 16th, 17th, yeah, and then we're the cruise ship's going down for all different ports. So we're all done. I think we're
You're going to give you. I think it all will be fun.
So many of them that go there for vacation.
She's on speaker. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to announce that all Aldermen are present, with the exception of Alderman Pfeiffer is on speakerphone. If you don't mind, Mr. Stephen Gloruso will give the invocation, and Alderman Tillis will lead us in the pledge.
Everybody, please bow your heads. Almighty Lord, even though the world pulls me away, I stop here now and seek your presence. Prepare me, O Lord, bring me calm to my heart and clarity to my mind. Fill me with your Holy Spirit. Let me know that no matter what happens, I'm at peace with my God. And from the place of security, let me move forward with confidence. May this meeting's outcome be favorable to your eyes. Pour yourself out over all of us. May I see with the eyes of Christ, hear with the ears of the Lord, and speak with the words of the Spirit. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have a motion to accept the agenda? So moved. Got a motion by Alderman Hinton, second by Alderman Wade. I guess we need a roll call since she's on speakerphone. Mr. Tillis?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, the ayes have it. We have a proclamation honoring Ocean Springs High School Theater Department tonight. Let's switch it up and come to this side. I was told you couldn't see on the video on that side. So if we might, Mr. Chris, good to see you. Hey, Chris. Congratulations. There you go.
This little corner over here.
There you go. I guess I can skip back there. I think they'll see us back here. How about that? All right. Whereas the Ocean Springs High School Theater Department has earned statewide and national recognition for excellence in the performing arts, whereas during the 2025-26 academic year, the Ocean Springs High School Competition Theater Team received multiple top honors at the Mississippi Theater Association state competition for its production of The Crane Wife, including Best Production, Best Director, and the Peer Choice Award. Whereas these achievements earned the team the honor of representing the state of Mississippi at the Southeast Theater Conference, the nation's premier high school theater competition to be held in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And whereas this marks the 4th consecutive year the Ocean Springs High School Theater Team has advanced to the national competition, including a first place national championship in 2025, an unprecedented accomplishment in Mississippi. Congratulations. Whereas the Ocean Springs High School Theater Program is a student-driven, multidisciplinary program that develops artistic, technical, leadership, and real-world skills while enriching the cultural life of our community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Bobby Cox, Mayor of the City of Ocean Springs, do hereby recognize and commend the Ocean Springs High School Theater Department for its extraordinary achievements and for representing Ocean Springs in the state of Mississippi with distinction. Thank you, Chris, and thank you.
Thank you.
So when y'all, is this the whole group, Chris?
Not the older. We're about 50. They're all kind of over the map right now, trying to get back for school tomorrow. So.
You want to add to this? Go right.
Well, they're incredible. They represent our arts, academics, and athletics of Ocean Springs High School. They're so incredibly talented. Like a student-driven program, they're able to design, create. Like I said, the shows always start as words on a paper, and they imagine choreography, write the music, do everything themselves, and create amazing pieces of work. So we're going to be performing March 3rd. In 2 weeks. Second. I am very tired. Okay, so March 2nd. So come check us out. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. So we have all of our information on there. So thank y'all so much.
Thanks, Tom. I watched it last year and they were unbelievable. It's amazing watching them.
Scotland with them in 18. And
You did. It's impressive. All right, we have agenda public comment. The public is invited to address the board. What's that? We already did. Oh. We're on down already. All right, so we've got agenda public comment. The public is invited to address the board for up to 5 minutes each for a maximum period of 30 minutes, only regarding issues listed on this agenda. Please identify yourself and the agenda item. If no agenda item is stated, you will be asked to hold your comment until the last general public comment. So do we have anybody in yes ma'am, come on up.
So can you go first? I got her before she starts fussing. My name is Haley Hill, I'm in Ward 4. I don't know where the discussion is or where the decision points are with the Holly Grove Township. But I just wanted to come and voice my concern and opposition to the project. I live in, so if you're going down Government, you pass Brooms right before you make that curve in the road to go by Magnolia Park Elementary. That's where our neighborhood sits, Park Bayou. And we have to run across the street, the kids, the dogs, and strollers. It is a very frequently traveled area for kids from our neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods to get to school with mothers and other small children, things like that. Just from a traffic perspective, I don't know any way that we're gonna make it any better because I'm sure there's limitations for how wide the road can be. But traffic is definitely probably my #1 concern, aside from all the other things I'm sure y'all been hearing from the community. So I just wanted to communicate that today. Thank you.
All right, and I want to say also congratulations and everything, because last time you were up here, you hadn't delivered yet, so
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you very much. Oh, and I guess while I'm up here, probably a request for the police department, but if somebody feel like, I very rarely see police officers on that road, kind of in relation to my concern, monitoring, like, I'm really not normally one to advocate for someone posts up in radar traffic, but it's been a problem for a while and it's getting worse. I think maybe outsiders coming into the area that aren't maybe from there. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, people who've been in the community a while, they'll tell folks, I mean, you just have a different respect for the area, I guess, when you grow up there. And my grandparents live on Davis Bayou, on a home in the Bayou. And so if I see them going over 35 miles per hour, I have a conscience in me that tells me I better slow down. You know, the neighborhood will see so-and-so, you know what I mean? So with people coming into the area, I feel like, and then a lot of young kids, I have a teenager who's new on the road as well, I ride with him, tell him to slow down, so it is a concern already, and I think this, townhome going in and adding 123 more units, my understanding, is just gonna further exacerbate that issue that we don't really have a good solution for at the moment, so thank you for hearing my
Thank
consent.
you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody on this side of the room like to, yes, sir?
Good evening. James Lewis, Old Business 5A. I just want to reiterate what I've stated before. This is a very congested area. I have a family member that owns a home right there on Government Street. And they have a heck of a time trying to get out of their driveway just to get on Government Street. And to go back and have another 100 additional homes in that area, you're trying to come off of Paps Road to get to Government Street. That is a big problem. The same thing is when the train comes there, the arm is down. And then I just happened to be in line one time, and the police happened to be in line also, and two people jumped out of line because the train had stopped and you couldn't make the right-hand turn. And so therefore, two people got a ticket because they were going around because the lane was open going west. It's not conducive to go back in and put this many homes in that area. If you go down and even take a tape measure and measure across Pap Road, that is very small area when two people are driving past each other. It's just very dangerous. And right there, you already have a red light right there at the railroad crossing. And then you're trying to go back in and get off Pap Road and either going west or even going east. It's just dangerous. And I don't understand how we can go back in and even look at this from a logical standpoint of view because of how the road is constructed and there's so much congestion already there. Look at the traffic going in when the children are going to school in the morning. And the buses started running about 5:30, trying to go back and get to that area. And all of that congestion, it's just right there. It's an accident that's waiting to happen already. Thank God for that it hasn't happened. But it's just not conducive for that area. Thank you.
Anybody else on the side of the room like to address the board? No? Anybody in the middle? Like, yes, ma'am.
Nancy Brown Peterson, 1006 Conley Circle in Ward 4. I spoke at the last meeting. I'm representing 63 of my neighbors in Stark Bayou, including the lady who just spoke. All these people have signed a petition opposing the Holly Grove subdivision. The number one issue is traffic. As she so eloquently said, the traffic on Government is bad now. It's only going to get worse. It's really bad during school drop-off and pickup, as well as when you're trying to get through the intersection of Government and Ocean Springs Road. The second issue that was brought up by a lot of residents is concern about our infrastructure, our utility infrastructure. We didn't have enough water pressure in Stark Bayou once they add 123 new residences. The third concern is that these are 123 rental apartments, which does not fit in to any of the surrounding areas. We're all single-family homes throughout, on both sides of Government. And then the final concern is that what is this going to do to our already overcrowded schools? Okay.
Anybody else in the middle? No? Anybody on this side like to address? Come on.
Good evening, Brian Rose from Ward 1, and one of the greatest things about being a member of the media is I get to talk to people every day, whether I want to or not. They approach me with their opinions on both sides of every issue, no matter how big or how small, and I would imagine as elected officials, you are getting 10 or 100 times more than me, but I can tell you this, with most issues, you have a good balance, whether it's 60-40 or 50-50 or 70-30 even, but I can tell you with this, over the last several months, hundreds of people have approached me about this subdivision, Holly Grove, and not a single person is for it. Not one that has spoken to me. And I would imagine that you're seeing similar things from residents. And if that's the case, then I think that you should weigh heavily on that. And I say weigh heavily on it. I understand that there are rules and regulations and statutes, and if the box fits perfectly, then you have to approve it. But that has not always been the case in this room. There's been cases over the last 18 months or so. When I first started reporting on Ocean Springs, I was covering UDC issues. And we would point out where the UDC wasn't being followed, where notifications weren't done the correct way in accordance with the UDC. Residents would get up to this podium and say, no, I didn't receive my notice. And then the city attorney would say, I recommend that you pass it anyway. And I talked with a former city official who's no longer here, and he said we kind of weigh towards the developer because they're more inclined to sue us than a regular citizen is. And I just found that to be very, very troubling and disturbing because, they just said, the idea was the average person isn't going to go hire a lawyer, but the average investor and developer would. So they give heavier weight to that side, and I think that's wrong. I think that yesterday the planning director sent an email to all of you, and I thought it was very great of her to do so, and she raised a lot of the issues that some of the residents had. But one of the things that was troubling about that email is that she took it upon herself to write that email to you all and that briefing that was attached to it because she didn't receive a lot of questions from you. And that blows my mind because me, just as a guy who writes crap on the internet, got 3,000 questions from people over the last several months. So I would imagine you guys got a lot more than that. And I certainly don't know all the answers, and I'm sure that you don't know all the answers too. So I would assume that you would have asked questions to the people that did know. So it was a little troubling to hear that a lot of you were not asking questions to the people that do know. But I will tell you this, I know that you have to check all the boxes, and if all those boxes are checked, you have to vote yes. But if there are discrepancies, if there are just one thing that doesn't match the UDC, then not only should you vote no, but you have a duty to vote no. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Come on.
I'm Dave LaPointe, and I live in Magnolia Valley Subdivision. First, I have a question. Is there ingress and egress on the Taft Road?
Sort of.
Not sort of. There is or there isn't.
It's on their plot.
Is it on the plat?
It was on their plot 2 months ago.
So you're,
This isn't a question and answer, though, just you give us, we'll take it.
Okay, well, there absolutely should not be ingress and egress on the Taft Road. That will make Magnolia Bayou Boulevard a major thoroughfare and will completely change the complexion of our neighborhood. Second thing is, we keep talking about 123 units. Those units are not traffic. Every house has 2 cars. If you got a teenager, you got 3 cars or more. So we're talking about 500 cars, 500 increase in our traffic in that area. Now, this gentleman here said, that you have to approve it because it's zoned. Well, no. The Mississippi Supreme Court has stated that you can deny a permit based on things that are detrimental to your neighborhood. And one of them is traffic. That's it. Thank you.
Anybody else on this side of the room like to address the board? If not, y'all want to address the board in the back? No? All right.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
No, we're not, there's no motions there.
hold on. You got one more.
There you go.
Okay, we got
I'm sorry,
somebody in the back.
come on up, I'm sorry.
Karen would start with a motion, and I think somebody decides they want to speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My name is Paul Alberg, and I work over on Keesler Air Force Base. I've been working for the Air Force for 45 years. I retired out of Altus, Oklahoma, and moved here to Biloxi. We looked all over the place for a home. We went to Gulfport, Biloxi, and Ocean Springs. And I'll tell you what, we fell in love with Ocean Springs. And it was mainly due to the zoning here. They do a really nice job of keeping neighborhoods pristine as best they can. And when we saw our home in Magnolia Bayou, that's what we saw. It was just this beautiful place. I come from Iowa, and we have acres over there for yards. I got a quarter acre now. Our subdivision is a beautiful subdivision. When I first found out about this development, I was kind of shocked because the neighbor who is selling this to the developer said he was going to move his family back there and have some family homes for his family. So it was going to be a real small community back in there. And I thought that was wonderful. That fits right in. And I thought to myself, how do we go from a few family homes to 120? And I thought to myself, isn't there a better idea here for the developers to put in that many homes, that many cars, this much traffic, with so many people against it? It just did not make sense to me. And I just wanted to voice that because I hate to see Ocean Springs turn into Gulfport or Biloxi, some of the areas there. Not to say they don't have their beautiful areas too, I'm not saying that, but Ocean Springs is where it's at. And if you talk to people in those other areas, they say Ocean Springs is where it's at. That's where it's a beautiful community. You hear this all the time, and they wish they lived in Ocean Springs. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Karen, we don't take.
Yeah.
We don't take.
I know.
Okay, so we'll move on to old business.
Got one more there.
Oh, might pop it up. One more thing. Come on, Nick.
I'm really new.
That's okay.
So, my name's Adam Lees. I literally just moved here on Friday. Literally. Just
Welcome.
moved here on Friday. I just found out about this today. I used to live here back in the day. I joined the military in 2003, and I'm telling you, the whole time I was gone, I was like, I cannot wait to come back to Ocean Springs. You guys don't even know. This place is amazing. You know, one of the things, my mom lives in Fort Bayou Estates, and she would drive across and go up the National Seashore to get the park right there. And I found out it's not going to be the same anymore. Is that really what I'm looking at? They're going to just cut out all that livestock, just everything right there, all those trees. Isn't that sad? I know we're talking about the traffic, and that sucks. My wife's going to hate to hear this because I just told her on a good thing about how nice it is here. Traffic is good. She hates driving. She's got PTSD. We were in Albuquerque. That's the reason we moved here. We literally put our life savings here. And it's like, man, traffic's going to suck even more. I live right there, Pyramid, so I guess I'm going to be impacted by this because it's already hard enough to get out, but now I don't even know how we're going to get to work. I want to work at the base. Can we figure this out some way? I know my brother was telling me you can just say no. Just say no, right? Can we say no?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to old business now. Miss Amanda, if you'd like to step up and then give us your presentation. This is the Southeastern Construction and Remodeling LLC, Paps Road, requesting sketch plat approval for Holly Grove subdivision.
Thank you.
Sorry. All right, good evening. Was it on? Turn it off. Sorry. it?
Yep.
Okay, let's get into it, sorry. Okay, I just handed out, a memo, and also 3 additional opposition letters that was received after the, packet was published, to be accepted into the minutes. Just want to start off with a recap. I know it's been a minute since we first initially seen this, just as a recap of where the project has been since the beginning. On November 12th, 2025, it went to the Planning Commission. That's where Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the 123 townhome subdivision. Then it was heard on January 6th here at the Board of Aldermen, and a motion was made to table the decision due to aldermen to submit their questions for further consideration, to be heard at the February 3rd agenda. However, I was not going to be here for that meeting, so I did request to table it to continue so I can be here to answer questions. So I appreciate the assistance in getting that moved for today. Also, what I did hand out, being that, I know it was mentioned previously, I did send an email in preparation for the presentation tonight to the Board of Aldermen. Just what I kind of did was went back to the previous meeting in January and kind of picked out certain concerns that was primarily coming from the opposition and just touched base on a couple of those. So in that packet I just handed out to you guys, it just does mention a couple of discrepancies withheld in the UDC. So I'll go through that real quick. So first, the sketch plat, we'll talk about that again. Sketch plat is a first step in a 3-step process for any subdivision. An approved sketch plat, it constitutes the approval of the type, the intensity, and the phasing of a development. So for example, if you are approved for 50 lots, at preliminary plat stage, you couldn't come back and ask for 51. It's 50 or less. And so in reviewing the UDC against the proposed Holly Grove sketch plat, some of the concerns were discrepancies was the runway, cul-de-sacs was mentioned, and open space requirements. So in this handout, which will be accepted into the minutes, talks about right-of-way. So the proposed development right now shows 50-foot right-of-ways. The UDC does mention 50-foot and 60-foot right-of-ways. So I want to kind of clarify that. I did include images from the UDC. So for minor streets, it does mention the minor streets would have a 50-foot right-of-way. Basically, the minor streets are treated to where they're not a thoroughfare. The proposed development for Holly Grove, they're showing 50-foot right-of-ways with 2 gates to be a private development, private streets. So it's not treated as a thoroughfare. The image on the second page does show the use of the 60-foot right-of-ways. The UDC does mention R1A as one of the zoning districts to utilize the 60-foot right-of-ways. Basically, that promotes the 9-foot wide parallel parking on either side of the street to be the 60-foot right-of-way. Also, cul-de-sacs on page 2 of the handout, page 246 of the UDC, it does mention the cul-de-sacs are utilized as far as the UDC goes. So no cul-de-sac shall exceed 750 foot. The cul-de-sacs also have a 50-foot right-of-way and a minimum driving surface of 40 feet. When the plans come into our office, we do send it out to each department head for review. Engineering, fire, everybody checks it. One of the comments was, we are going back and forth with the fire code compared to the UDC. Again, you can't have dead-end streets in a development. So fire code was comparing fire code to the UDC. So there was a little bit of contradictions there, where the UDC does promote cul-de-sacs. But the fire code states that any cul-de-sacs are over 150 feet. On the third page, you can see they're saying the 96-foot diameter cul-de-sac instead of the 40-foot the UDC mentions. So in review, the fire department was okay with promoting the hammerhead turnaround, which is the far right image over here, utilizing that as an acceptable turnaround. Open space requirements. That's also mentioned a couple of different times in the UDC. So on page 127, if you look under the footnote for R1A, section number 8, it does state that the zoning district for R1A, the heading is R1A Special Apartment Use District. So highlighted, I have, in addition, each apartment project shall provide a minimum of 5% open space. The last page is a chart on page 237 of the UDC, table 4.11, which also shows required parks and open space. It does mention the highlighted R1A as showing 20%. So this was initially called, I did speak to the applicant, they did propose to do 21% open space. Although the UDC kind of contradicts itself a little bit, they did provide 21. So I kind of like took it upon myself to try to figure out what would be the most things to look at for sketch plat. There are further concerns that we could look at preliminary plat. So there's other ones that we don't look at right now, but I put on the final notes down here. So there are several opposition concerns regarding, traffic, landscaping, bus stop locations, garbage collection areas. All of that will be looked at when they apply for preliminary plat. Preliminary plat is where they finish all the civil engineering and they reapply again. It goes through all department reviews again. It does come through planning commission again and board of aldermen approval again. Also, buffers. There was already a provided buffer on the south and the west property lines. Again, in my previous staff report for January, I did look at other subdivisions around the neighboring properties and do recommend, since it is abutted next to the National Park Service, that a 30-foot wooded buffer to remain on that side. Wetlands also. To touch on wetlands, I did also put this in my previous staff report. Being the wetland delineation report was provided by the applicant. It does state the wetland consultant is there a professional opinion that the wetlands are disconnected. I was simply recommending to provide a approved non-jurisdictional letter from the Army Corps of Engineers, that can be submitted at preliminary plat approval. And also there was a question at the January meeting from Ms. Piper, was questioning about the open space requirements and how ponds can only be utilized up to 25% or 1 acre. Yes, that is confirmed. That they can also go back and change that prior to approval, either a sketch plat or a preliminary. So we can make sure that their 20% that they're utilizing is met. And also just, I did put this in your memo, on your memo handout to kind of throw out some options. You kind of have, 4 different options. Now there's a lot on the table and then there's a lot of discrepancies. So options could be, approve the sketch plat as is. You could rescind the sketch plat, say if there's changes that you want to see. If you want to do the 60-foot right-of-ways or anything that you want to see, you can always rescind it back to planning commission and come back through board of aldermen again. Or you could approve with conditions or deny. So there's lots of options that you guys have. I just felt like it would be necessary to kind of point out the developer has a plan. They are providing private streets, and there are some contradictions. We do have a current UDC committee in place right now. These are all valid points that are going to be brought up to the UDC committee, so we can clean this document up and propose changing these in the future at planning commission and board of aldermen approval.
You have any questions for Amanda?
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to address the board? Any questions for Eric?
Mayor, Board
Yes, sir.
Alderman, Eric Nichols, I represent the applicant. Thank y'all for taking us back up today. Once again, as Amanda stated, this matter comes before you on the sketch plat approval for Holly Grove Townhomes upon the unanimous approval from the Planning Commission on November 12, 2025. As reflected in the Planning Director's memorandum to this board, This request is just the first step in the subdivision process, which requires the approval of the type, intensity, and general layout. It's a three-step process that she talked about. A lot of the issues that are being brought up by the public and also that Amanda's talked about are more appropriate at the preliminary stage, and then, of course, the final. Many of these are the studies, including infrastructure, civil engineering, wetland permitting, and all this, again, required at the preliminary steps. Property zone R1A, Special Use Apartment District, as we discussed, is permitted by right. What's being built is permitted by right. The director's memorandum confirms that it's 123 lots, which is permitted within what the development would allow. 50-foot right-of-way, which I'll discuss in a minute, because the issues of discrepancies that have come up, access points, buffers, and 21.2% green space, which is well in excess of what's required. On January 6, 2026, a motion was made by Alderman Pfeiffer and seconded by Alderman Tillis, and unanimously carried to table the discussion of sketch plat approval until the February 3rd. Sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay, until the February 3rd regular meeting, which we agreed to, well, because of staff concerns and needs to this day. And this allowed the Alderman to submit further questions. One thing that we have gotten some information on was no questions were ever submitted by the Alderman. And apparently some emails and other communication was given to certain members of the press, yet we didn't receive that, even though we're a party to this, and this would have been important information on the affected issues here today. So we communicated with the city staff many times. We probably reached out at least a half a dozen times, trying to be part of the process, trying to work in good faith with the city because of the questions that were going to be provided to the city staff. This essentially created an arbitrary delay. There was no question submitted. We waited 6 weeks. There's holding costs, there's carrying costs. There's other issues that we were trying to work with the city on. And then if a decision is made tonight to vote this down when, again, we're at the sketch plat level, which the standard is again, type, intensity, general layout of the development. And if a decision is made on a situation where the Alderman did not even submit questions that we could be a part of and try to work this as a whole in good faith, then again, that's an arbitrary and capricious decision. Again, the legal question tonight, does this comply with the UDC? Does the type, intensity, the layout? There's been a bunch of discussions which we just learned the discrepancies, talking about the right-of-way, the widths, and certain other things. One thing that keeps getting quoted, or at least it was quoted in the last meeting, was 4.6.3 of the UDC requires a 60-foot right-of-way. The correct structure and the way you interpret the UDC of the code here is if you have 4.6.3 does not establish any kind of independent right-of-ways. What it does is it directs the reader to certain chapters and certain tables. So in this one, 5.1 for permitted street dimensions provides a 50-foot right-of-way. We've established that. And a 24-foot travel width, which we have. Another issue that has been brought up a few times is the green space requirement. Minimum for open space is 5%. And then another, what's been talked about, a discrepancy between the 20% and the 5%. And there was also concern whether or not we were counting part of the open space to use the pond. Well, 25% is allowed. We haven't even used the full 25%. None of the impervious amenities, which include the clubhouse and pools, were counted towards the open space. Everything we've done, again, working with the city for the past 6 months, back and forth, including all the different agencies of the city, got us to this point. If there were some issues early on, we, again, worked with the city. We've made a lot of adjustments. I mean, the original plan was a lot more units than what we have today. There's been different layouts. There's been ingress, egress. I know there's a lot of talk about Pass Road. We don't love being on Pass Road either, but that was a request from the city that we complied with because, once again, we're trying to get ahead of this. We did a traffic study that I know has been called into question by several members of the public, and that's fine. But we did that. It's not a requirement at this level. We've done engineering. That was not required at this level. And the planning director's memorandum basically reflects all of this, and it reflects not only the compliance of this project with the sketch plat standards, it reflects the fact that we've been trying to work with the city and again, going back to infrastructure, there's been no contrary studies. We've heard no, any kind of engineering or something otherwise that would show that we have that the infrastructure that we're planning to put with the pump station and other things is not feasible. Again, just public opinion, that is not a standard that you can deny something at this level. And public opinion matters, which is also why the developers had a meeting with the public. I mean, they had a town hall, they wanted public input, and several people, actually quite a few people showed up. And there were positive responses, so to say that it's 100% negative is not true, because there's been plenty of people. But again, for purposes of the record, we respectfully submit the following. The sketch plat complies with R1A. It requires with the applicable subdivision standards, and it's been confirmed in the planning memorandum. I just want to reflect one more time, the compliance with right-of-way, the street standards is 5.1 table, rather than some of the other references that have been mentioned. Compliance with the buffer and landscape requirements have been satisfied, absolutely, in working with the city. Open space exceeds the minimum standards, and we have no expert testimony or anything showing any infrastructure infeasibility. We provide professional documentation, we address feasibility, we don't have any contrary evidence except for public opinion. Public opinion matters, but that is not a standard to deny this. So accordingly, a denial in absence of any specific ordinance, non-compliance, competence, feasibility, inconsistent with applicable legal standards. So, thank you.
Does any member of the board have a question for Mr. Nichols?
No.
No. Thank you. Okay, so moving forward, any discussion amongst the board? Any motions?
Yeah.
Deny, make a motion.
I'm gonna make a comment, Bobby, if you don't mind, real quick.
And I'll follow up with Rob.
And I've said this before, I mean, I live in Ward 5. I live right down the road from this. I know the effects that this is gonna have on all of our neighborhoods out there. And there again, I'm gonna ask the contractor, why do you wanna come in here and piss this many people off? I get it, it's about money. Plenty of other places in town to build your development, and you've chosen one of the worst possible locations in town, and I just don't get it. But what other people don't understand, you know, everybody gets mad at the planning commission. I'm gonna flip this a little bit before you start clapping. Planning commission is taking a beating on this because they did what they had to do. At that point, they had to approve the sketch plat to send it to us, because this is, like they said, a three-part process. Now, when it comes to us, we've got questions. We've got some answers, some not. The next step would be preliminary plat, which has to be a lot more proven than what's been proven up front. But at this point, I'm not in favor of this. I'm not going to support it, and that's where I stand.
This is something that's very hard for all residents of Ocean Springs. This property is something that is one of our last big pieces of property in that area. It is the city's responsibility to make sure that infrastructure is in compliance for a development of this size. This is something that I feel that we need to do an impact study within this area to make sure that it is feasible to proceed with this. Saying this, when you have a property rights owner for a property that has been zoned such a way for 40 plus years, this is the rights of the property owner. Anybody has property in Ocean Springs has zoning rights. It is the city's responsibility to make sure that those rights are held up, and also to make sure that the property is being able to be maintained with infrastructure. Sewer, water, drainage, traffic is a big one. This is something that I feel like I would like to make a motion that this be put back within the Planning and Planning Commission for review, and also to make sure that the UDC, the conflicts that are within the UDC are addressed. Yes, Shannon?
Finish you.
Okay. The inconsistencies that have been presented to us need to be addressed. Those are things that need to be dealt with before this is brought before a vote. So that's where I stand. Thank you.
I'd like to jump in here and say that I find it difficult to entertain a motion where there's inconsistencies and you think that the the planning commission is going to resolve this. I think if you approve anything with inconsistencies, you've made a grave error. You have to deny. And I'm going to present an alternative motion as soon as I can.
Well, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Bobby, I'd like to discuss it a little bit more.
Yes, we need a second to discuss his motion anymore.
I'll second.
What is your motion exactly?
Then the motion fails.
Send it back to.
My motion is to send it back to planning and the planning commission for further review to get the inconsistencies dealt with that has been presented to us.
And my response
motion.
is don't approve inconsistency if it doesn't align with UDC.
Not approving the inconsistencies.
No, it's a motion to send it back to get the inconsistencies taken care of.
And there's been no second to this motion, so it's going to fail.
You gotta give them a chance to get a second. Motion. And Steve wanted a second for more discussion. So we have a second. Got a motion by Alderman Hinton, second by Alderman Wade. Any discussion? Go ahead, Steve.
So I'm going to second what Rob said to say. I mean, I think that if we approve this, it's going to affect the neighborhoods anywhere from a mile within that distance. It'll change them forever. So I can't see supporting it based off of the concerns we have. I know y'all did do a traffic study. I don't know how much, I can buy into that. I think I mentioned last time about potentially us doing a traffic study ourselves.
Yeah, did you not see that?
I hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
It was emailed to all of us.
it's over 2,000 more cars a day than theirs.
Say that again?
Over 2,000 more cars a day than what theirs says.
Within their traffic study, it was 64,000 within that week period of time that it was done.
Right, so that's another concerning area than the UDC, the green space. So I'm having a hard time myself supporting something that would change all of the neighborhoods within a mile of this area.
Can I just say something,
Go ahead.
Steve, to that? Is change is scary. We have all these areas, Magnolia, Heron Bayou, Bienville Place, Stark Bayou. It's it is something that we have to look at, but I will go back to it. It's the city's responsibility to make sure that its residents and property owners are protected. It's not you can't judge something on feeling, you gotta judge it by law. What our codes say is what we go by. But we also gotta do responsibility within our residents to say, is this acceptable? And that's what we're looking at right now. And that's why my motion is to put it back in the planning and the planning commission for further review to make sure that the inconsistencies that have been brought to us are dealt with, that it protects the residents and property owners at the same time.
Before moving forward.
Before moving forward, yes.
Is there any other discussion?
I had a resident reach out in regards to the wetlands, the 16 acres of wetlands, and I do concur. I think it would be prudent to, as Amanda and I have talked about, to obtain an approval letter from the Army Corps. I'd be interested to see that.
I'm going to say, again, there's too many loose ends, too many inconsistencies for us to do anything more than deny tonight.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, we need a roll call. The motion to send, it's a motion to send it back to the planning commission to take care of the inconsistencies before moving forward.
No.
No.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay.
4-3.
4-3 to deny sending it back to the planning commission.
I'd like to make another motion. I'd like to make a motion to deny.
You got a motion?
Based on inconsistencies with the UDC, including the cul-de-sac requirement, 60-foot R1A street standard, and 20% usable open space requirement.
You got a motion?
Second.
You got a second by Alderman Tillis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Nay. Aye.
Aye.
No.
Okay. 4-3. Deny.
5-2, I think it was 5-2.
5-2, 5-2. There was 3 voted no.
I believe it was 5-2.
All right, there we go. It's, it passed.
Council,
Did it
get
not?
ready for a lawsuit tomorrow.
Yep, I think they, you're doing your due diligence, you gotta go with what you gotta go for. All right, we move on to old business item B.
Yes.
And we already have a
5-2.
Yes. Yes. All right, we move on to item B, adopt ordinance. Give me a second. Please clear the room if you would, please. You can have conversations outside. We're still conducting business.
Yeah, they couldn't hear you.
Alan, would y'all please shut those doors? If you don't mind. All right, moving on to item 5B. It's ordinance to adjust the flood damage prevention ordinance of the Unified Development Code of the City of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I do believe we were wanting to make other adjustments, and there was discussion of going ahead and tabling this till all the adjustments can be made at one time. Do we have a motion to do so?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we table it until it's all one complete document.
Second. All right, we will have this at the next meeting ready to go. Got a motion by Alderman Blackman, second by Alderman Wade. Do a roll call if you like.
Aye.
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 Nay.
Aye.
Okay, we'll table it till the next meeting with all the adjustments to be made. All right, moving on to new business, we got an appeal of a short-term permit renewal.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have to recuse myself because I have a short-term rental.
Mr. Hinton.
The board will.
And Ms. Dennis will be recusing himself.
Just till tomorrow, I will be done with my short-term
Oh, okay.
rental tomorrow.
Missed it by
The
one.
house is being sold.
Okay, Amanda, if you want to handle this, please.
I'm gonna let Ray present
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry, Ray,
Yep.
come on up. Thank you.
All right, so this is to present the appeal that was submitted by the property owners, Diane and Donald Delson of 1238 Iberville Drive, concerning the planning department's decision to deny the renewal of their short-term rental permit. The permit for the property expired January 3rd, 2026. Prior to the expiration, the owners did not submit any documentation for the renewal, nor was the required inspection done or completed. Consequently, because of that, on February 2nd, the planning department issued a formal notice of determination of the permit, and that we would not renew it. Based on that, we do ask that the board and the mayor, the board of aldermen and the mayor uphold that, due to the failure to complete the required inspections prior to the permit expiration.
Now, Ray, from what I understood is they did not receive the notification and they were ill at the time when they had issues going on. So I know they requested us to reconsider and discuss this more. So I thought y'all were coming with further information as to that effect.
Apologies. I do have further information. So for this short-term rental, I did not receive any new documentations or any new information on ways to contact the property owner. I did not give courtesy reminder calls for the expiration or renewal. I think that does fall on the responsibility of the owners to keep up with their business, because it is a business. The email address in question that they stated that they did not receive notices was never used for any of the notifications. The notifications were sent to the private email address of Ms. Diane Delsey that's also listed on the prior application. Even though Ms. Delsey did state that she did not receive any of my notifications, one was sent on December 1st, one was sent on December 15th, one was sent on December 30th as a final notice, giving them 30 more days after they had already received 30 days to renew before expiration. It was not until February 2nd, which was exactly 30 days after the expiration, I sent an email at 8:58 a.m. to Diane Delsey, letting her know that the permit would not be renewed and that a stop order was issued. That afternoon, Mr. Donald and Diane was both in my office. She stated she received the email and that's what brought her there. So she did have the ability to receive notifications from me. She did have the ability to check it. And from my understanding and based on the letter that they gave me, her illness was last year sometime. So it should not have affected the 60-day period where those notifications were sent out.
I just know they contacted me, and I know they have been no issues with their short-term rental, so that's what I was wanting to make sure the board understood that, and that's what was told to me, that it was a health issue, several other issues with their whatever
I mean, they did notify me of that.
I just want to.
That she had health issues last year, and I completely understand that. I also feel like accountability is a huge thing that I do lean on with the short-term rental. I hope everybody's the same standard, everybody gets the same notices, and everybody gets that 60-day period to get that information taken care of.
I agree, everybody should get notified and treated the same way, but things do come up, and it was brought to us after the fact. So this has never been an issue. This VRBO has never had any issues. I always got compliments from people that stayed there. So if I had to give a thumbs up, I would have to recommend we move forward and approve their appeal.
But you do send emails for renewal.
I sent an email for renewal 30 days prior to expiration.
So how many letters were sent?
It was a total of 4.
4 letters?
3 before expiration, 3 emails.
Did they come back?
No, they did not. And that final one that was sent, they did come into my office about an hour later.
And then the final email you sent, they responded to it, so that means that they had received those emails.
Correct.
It's not the wrong email address.
No, sir.
There was something wrong with their service that they were not getting the emails.
That happens all the time.
And so that was their issue.
I mean, I think the reminders are a courtesy. I would agree with you. I mean, personal responsibility has to come into play. You shouldn't require one.
But we haven't had any problems with this VRBO.
That's not the point,
This
though.
specific one, no.
I'm just asking.
I haven't received any complaints for this Airbnb, no. It just was a failure to.
The letters, I think, went to a P.O. box that they didn't have anymore.
No,
They
no letters.
closed.
No,
they were not
emails.
sent.
No letters were
No
sent.
sent.
The
Okay.
final letter that was sent, there is a copy of it, because they came in as I was going down to send that email, that letter. It was sent to their address that they confirmed. I told them I couldn't hand it to them, that per the ordinance, it had to be mailed. So it was mailed to their 1238 Iberville Drive address.
Right. They will get that, but they did have a P.O. box. They told me that they
They did have a P.O. box on file, and I confirmed before mailing, because they came to, like I said, they got that termination email and came right in. They verified their address, so I was able to send it to the correct address, so that was mailed to them.
Are they here tonight?
Yes.
They were. There's Mr. Don, yeah.
And since, I can interject, so since Ray has been here for the past almost 3 months, she has come in, she has taken care of the short-term rentals, kind of cleaned it up, become more accountable. I can't answer what was done before my time being here with the city. But we pulled out the actual short-term rental ordinance and making sure all rules and regulations are met. It is getting cleaned up. I can't answer for what was happening before, but we are trying to make sure everybody's accountable, make sure they all have their privilege licenses, make sure everything is to the T, to make sure everybody is compliant and working off the same book and document. So she's done a good job trying to keep them updated.
I want to hear from Mr. Del Cid. Would you like to address the board?
Seed 1238 Harborville Drive with the Sunny Oak B&B, and currently was R29, so this is an early one. And Diane is my wife. My grandmother said the devil never speaks, never sleeps. And what happened is that she did her job sending the information. Unfortunately, the telecommunication systems betrayed us, because Diane registered the tiny house, the business of the tiny house in the city, through a Yahoo account. AT&T bought the Yahoo accounts. So their system to let people know was not very good. We ourselves did not know that AT&T had already stopped the service. We noticed it because there were no cookies on the BNB, and then Diane could not talk with the BNB system itself, because that account had been, AT&T had closed that account with the Yahoo. So any information that came directly through the Yahoo account, which was the outlet that the city had, we never got it because AT&T had already blocked that one. To compound on that, the other address register was the P.O. Box. But the P.O. Box went from $15 a semester to $29 to $49 to $99. So there was no way to pay $200 to have a P.O. box, so that one was stopped. Notices were sent out, the post office had the little stickers all the time. For one reason or the other, when we were at the planning commission, the envelope which was ready to be sent to us still had the address, the P.O. box. It was when we worked together said, no, that address is the P.O. box, the one that it was ready to be mailed. We said, no, this is our address. So the lady tried to change that address of the envelope. That's why we were able to receive it the following day. Some of the notifications came under STR. So when this world of abusive telecommunications, STR doesn't mean anything. It's just cycle. And the city of Ocean Springs was under the STR. So some of those things were just put to the side by the system. Because if we had been City of Ocean Springs SDR, they know it. But SDR, that also failed, unfortunately. Circumstances like those were the ones that produced this kind of lapse. Early January, went to pay my taxes on the county, went to the city to pay the permit. I had the receipts where we paid on that early days. Had the fire extinguisher inspected because the inspections were coming. We have been doing this diligently. We tried to be order and good citizens. And if it had been a phone call or something, then of course all this could have been avoided. But I think that this is basically circumstances out of your control, the city and our control, that all these systems with the internet and the changing AT&T and then the P.O. box, we actually didn't get that information on it. Besides, Diane had her share to say, and it was a very testing second semester for last year, and around Christmas was very critical. So we're appealing to you. We have to keep this in order. It's not a big business. It's not a large commercial venture. We don't take parking spaces from the city. We don't produce trash to the city. It's a secluded area. We don't contribute our guests to come and be drunken and cause problems in Ocean Springs because we are not in the bar system. We're in the residential area in a rather secluded very pretty yard that all of you are welcome to come. We have been good guys. I lecture at the Mary C. every month for free to the community. My personal library was donated to the Mary C., which is the city, for the whole community to use those facilities. So this is basically became, unfortunately, glitch in communications and very complicated issues with Diane. I rest and she concludes. So thank you. Please continue.
I have a question.
Sure.
So explain to me about the Yahoo account, because I have a Yahoo account, and mine
She's the one
hasn't
that
been
manages
set.
paperwork. She'll be glad to answer that one.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Okay, on the AT&T account, I did get those messages, but I didn't read them until late January because I was sick. And I have the invoices here from the doctor in the drugstore. So I was sick for like 2 weeks, from after Christmas until the middle of January. And I got very behind on email. And Saray did her job, and yes, it's all there. I didn't see it. I was dealing with a family crisis out of state. It was very difficult, and it just took all my time, and I really couldn't function. So I apologize. We've never been late before. Like Donald said, we paid for the license, and then we were expecting people to call us for the inspections, and they didn't, but then we got the stop work order. There was one in January. I pulled it all up, it's there. The Yahoo account was for dealing with the state to pay the taxes, the income taxes on the tiny house. It was also for communications through Airbnb. Anything with the city, I used my personal address.
Okay.
But it was overloaded. I mean, I just couldn't manage everything. And this really is my thing. It was my dream to have the Airbnb. And we have a long property. It's like 450 feet long, but very narrow. So you can split the property. What are you going to do with all that? So I decided to buy a tiny house, have it brought in. Donald did the foundations, and we basically built it ourselves. And then we added a lot of features that we thought people would be interested in, and they just love it. We've been super hosts for 6 out of 8 years, and it's just, the whole thing has kind of fallen off because there's too many Airbnbs. I agree, but I would hate to lose this. It was a dream of mine, and I enjoy it almost more than my other business. But anyway, I just want to apologize for lack of communication, but we did have issues with the Yahoo email, which was merged with AT&T, and we also had the what? Oh yeah, PO box, but it just should have been forwarded. I don't understand, but it is what it is, and we're just asking for forgiveness.
Any other questions? So Ebert, go ahead, any questions? No. Thank you, Ms. Diane. All right, we need to move on. Do we have a motion to approve the appeal or approve the denial?
Well, I mean, I was going to deny it, but based off of hearing all the facts, and I'm glad that y'all were here to explain the situation. You've had it for, what did we say, 6 or 7 years. I think the planning department did their part, and we don't want to act like we're not supporting you, but this is kind of a unique situation. So I'm going to make a motion that we deny the appeal and
Deny or approve?
Deny or approve the appeal? Approve the appeal.
Approve the appeal of short-term rental number R29.
I second
We got a
that.
motion from Alderman Tillis, second from Alderman Wade. Roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Shannon?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, ayes have it. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda? Oh, hang on, we gotta bring the other two aldermen back in. Get it rolling. I almost did. I'm moving on.
Can we go home?
All right, now we move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
I'd like to pull CC under building department, the tree application.
CC? Yeah. CC, anything else?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus CC.
Motion by Alderman Blackman, second by Alderman Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it. All right, CC, Ms. Julie?
So my question on this is, it stated that the tree is dying and there are no leaves. It appears from the picture, although there was just the one, that there are no leaves there, but has there been any type of professional opinion?
Yeah, the actual person that submitted the application is a professional tree surface that works in town that brought it to our attention of the tree being dead. There's one limb that's got some greenery on it, and that's it. The rest of it, the limbs are actually to the point where they're actually breaking and falling off.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe one limb that possibly even got any life to it.
My mother-in-law lives on that street, and I went and looked at it. It's like half the trees.
It was just hard to tell from the picture. I was trying to zoom in and
It's a big, huge.
I wanted to clarify.
This day was probably a beautiful tree, but yes, it outlived itself or something, I guess.
All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept CC.
You got a motion by Alderman Hinton, second by Alderman Blackman, roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay, CC is approved. All right, department reports, the docket of claim. Does anyone have any questions on the docket of claim?
Yeah, I do. This is Shannon. I'm gonna need to pull, my mileage reimbursement, and it'll be resubmitted at a later time.
Okay. All right, you got that, Christine? All right, is there a motion to approve the docket of claims?
I'll make a,
Go ahead.
need to read that.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the docket of claims? All expenditures are appropriate and authorized by law, and spread the summary on the minutes. Got a motion by Alderman Hinton,
Second.
second by Alderman Blackman. Roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Okay. Anyone have any questions about the sewer adjustments? If not, is there a motion to authorize the adjustment of the water and sewer accounts due to the finding that the customers did not receive the benefit of the utility and the excess usage was due to unforeseen circumstances?
So moved.
Got a motion by Alderman Stennis,
Second.
second by Alderman Messenger. Roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay. Now we're to general public comment. Public is invited to address the board for up to 5 minutes each for a maximum period of 30 minutes. Please identify yourself before speaking.
Good evening, again, James Lewis in Ward 5. First of all, I want to commend you on the statement you just made as far as the short-term rental. The process worked. We went through the steps that were supposed to went through, and you did have a situation. And I applaud all of you for that. That is very important. We see our city government working for the people. Secondly, I stood at this podium and I was told that School Street was going to have a sidewalk. I went by and there were little divots in the road that lets you know when you're getting off the road, but there is no sidewalk. When I went to school, there was a sidewalk. And that's been many years ago. I graduated in 1968. One of the key things is that when that vehicle hits that little brrrr, this is that how it sounds with your tire, you're almost gonna be done hit somebody because there's not that much space between where all the divots in the road is and where it is. With the sidewalk itself, at least you got the sidewalk is up, and therefore you get more understanding when you hit that curve before you hit somebody. Now I do know down on Government Old Spanish Trail, there are areas that's down there where the sidewalk is right level with the street. I understand that.
This one was the same way.
Yeah.
Or worse.
Right. But one of the key things is that that's a serious situation that's there. And I was under the impression the last time I stood at this podium that a sidewalk was supposed to be going in because that's exactly what I was
Well,
saying.
they're not finished. They are gonna connect that sidewalk to the MLK Road and also Holcomb Boulevard. So it will be extended to where the sidewalks actually connect to those roads going north and south. That's actually a 3-foot walkway, which is the same thing as what was there. It's just smooth now instead of covered with grass and busted up. So the sidewalk that was there was actually below the road and it was busted up. We had to take the skid steer and actually scrape everything off and clean it up to make it where we could even asphalt, to give it a smooth surface. So the rumble strip is just for protection to keep people off that, but it's the same width as what was there. It's just asphalt instead of concrete. But the rumble strip was added for safety. But we are gonna connect and see how it works out. I wish it was wider. I really wish we'd had 4 to 5 feet there. But I wasn't standing down there when they laid those stripes, so we ended up with wider lanes and not as wide as what I wanted on the sidewalk. So, but we're gonna work with it and see how it turns out when we finish the ends of it and continue forward with that. Thank you, Mr. James.
I thank you for your education.
All right, anybody else like to address the board? If not, we got Alderman's forum. Mr. Tillis?
I'd like to just kind of follow up with the discussion Mr. Lewis had with that sidewalk there. What would it cost us to, because I was playing with the numbers myself, I don't really like the way that turned out. You know, the paint goes down, it goes from like 4 foot to 3 foot, and then it goes back out 3 foot, almost 2 foot in some areas. I don't know if we just tried to save some money there but what is it, like a quarter mile there?
It's quite a bit of money,
right,
to do a sidewalk, but
$100,000.
It's more than that.
And it,
Rob, is that
It's $240,000.
240?
It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So and that wasn't the issue. We were just wanting, the sidewalk wasn't to be touched, but it was in such disrepair that we went ahead and put the asphalt over it because it was lower than the street and it wasn't in good repair at all. And it had breaks in it where it didn't connect here, didn't connect there. So this was what we were trying to do, is put the asphalt over it. We did want 4 feet, but we ended up with 3 feet. But yeah, once we connect the ends, we're hoping it'll really be used. Because before
I don't know if there's, something that there's some extra money comes along, maybe we can do it. But potentially put a sidewalk back over the next 5 years, say, 20% the first year, second year, so maybe it's something we can look at. If Sarah, if y'all find some extra money laying around. But it is just to see the way that they did the striping probably is what turned me off a little bit, because I looked at it and it's like, anyway, that's all I have. Thanks.
When I went down and looked at it, because of the width of the sidewalk, we were like, man, we wanted it wider, but they double striped the center of the road. And I think before it only had one center line. And it threw it off. So,
Yes.
We'll definitely try to see what we can do, if we can ever change the striping and widen that, but now we got the rumble strip for safety.
Right.
We might have to just widen the walkway, try to do that. Shannon, do you have something you want to say?
I kind of wanted to back up what Steve was saying, and I really feel that, especially somebody from out of town, they're not even going to recognize that as a sidewalk. And I too would like to look for funding to make this a little bit safer for anyone on School Street.
Anybody else? Is that all you had, Steve?
That's it.
All right, Karen?
Yes, I wanted to remind everybody that there are some more tree plantings, I believe tomorrow, that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, at Clay Boyd and, Shannon, you can finish the rest of it. Where? Halsted.
Clay Boyd and Halsted tomorrow.
Yeah, and then a few more on Friday and Saturday.
Trentwood will be pushed back. Trentwood will be pushed back.
Okay. So we are getting some trees planted, and week before last, I guess, several of us were out planting trees at the dog park, which was a very enjoyable time, and got several trees, and I learned a lot about planting a tree. I guess what I would like to start thinking about, and I discussed this a little bit with the mayor today, is some restrooms around town. Look for monies to do that, because we have a lot of tourists looking for a place to use the restroom, and most of the stores don't offer public restrooms, and so that would be something that I would really like to entertain in the next year or so.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like it.
Remember, we have one more parade in March for St. Patrick's Day. And last but not least, I'm sure most of the aldermen got something about Tunica, the city of Tunica. Their library burned to the ground, and they are in need of books, any kind of books. So if you are interested in donating them, I'll be in touch with Pam Cox and see if we can't get them some books.
Good. I didn't realize they lost their library.
Burned to the ground.
All right, Jeff?
Okay. I want to thank the police department, Public Works, the fire, for a great job during the parade, and everybody that helped clean up during the parade.
I didn't see you out Saturday night cleaning up.
I was there. Sunday morning I was there too.
I saw him Sunday morning. Had a rake
Before I went to work.
Had a rake in his hand.
I figured you were, I just didn't believe it was a real job.
Yeah, then I had to go to my real job. But I also have a motion. I move to maintain the attorney-client privilege regarding the information received from David Harris regarding the RFPs for city attorney.
Okay.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second by Alderman Blackman. Any discussion? If not, we roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Nay.
Aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it. Is that all you have?
That's all I got.
All right. Shannon?
Okay. I just wanted to give a little more information on the tree planting. Just to say that HOSA wanted to especially thank Stephen Glorioso and Alan Wagner on helping with that. It's been wonderful. As Karen mentioned, the holes are pre-dug. The dirt and mulch is right there. They give you a quick how to plant a tree, and so it's really not that much effort. You're basically just putting it in the ground and covering it up. But she wanted to also mention that they're going to be concentrating on community education efforts by ward, and that's going to be coordinated with the mayor and all the aldermen during the warm months. And then they'll get back to planning again in the 26-27 cycle. But this tomorrow is 8 trees at Clay Boyd, 6 trees at Halsted Park. And then Friday they'll be out at Gay Lemon and Trentwood Park. Saturday is the Sportsplex on 57, and they're all starting at 9 o'clock. And you really just need to bring yourself, but a shovel helps as well. And that's all I have.
All right.
Shannon, Stephen said that Trentwood was being pushed back
Okay.
because of a construction.
Okay. Gotcha. But tomorrow we'll at least have Clay Boyd and the little park on Halsted.
All right. Rob?
All I got, sometimes these get lost in the shuffle of consent agenda, but DC, be sure to congratulate Lieutenant Kester on his promotion to captain tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, Ms. Messenger.
I just wanted to share that I had a blast personally at the Harlem Wizards game. If y'all didn't go, you missed out, and there's always a chance next year, hopefully, to get on the team and try out a new sport. I thank Steve and Steven and Sam for mentoring me and helping me. I actually made a basket.
Julie didn't
That was
miss.
great.
You did not miss.
I only shot once, and I thought I'd leave it at that, kind of like the slots. When you win, you go home. So that was so that was a blast. And we raised, I believe it was $1,000 for each organization.
That's right.
Is that, yeah. So thank y'all. And thanks, Alan, for getting the sign out for the detour for Trentwood Subdivision as they had requested. I appreciate that. And just want to wish everyone a blessed Ash Wednesday. That's all.
Thank you, Julie. All right, Mr. Henn.
Just like to reiterate thanks to city staff and Public Works for the night parade and cleaning up so quickly on that. And we do have the parade coming up with the St. Patty Day Parade. I do have a question for Sarah and Carolyn. Roughly, what are we doing in the way of sidewalk money coming up? What are we looking at? I know Hank Zuber was going to be vying for some, so did we have a check-off list of what we're looking at?
We got a check-off list to give us what they'll give us, please. We're asking for
We're still asking for the money.
We're asking for the money, but what we get is determined by them.
All right, I just didn't know if we had like a punch list of what we had undone.
Once I get the.
Can we see this list?
We don't have a list. Once I get the paving list complete, I will shoot to all y'all to give me your sidewalk names, and we'll go from there if we get the money.
All right, that was just a question I had for that, so thank you, Sarah.
Don't mess with my modernization money.
Yeah, that's right. All right, and so that's it.
Thinking too hard.
Yep.
Stop right there. Look, I want to back up to the Wizards game, and I don't know if y'all saw the picture, but one mean little woman in the middle of the court with her hand on her hip telling that big tall guy he better not slap that basketball back at her. And she ended up, you got that jump ball, didn't you? It was a good time. We had a blast. Didn't know what to expect. You know, everybody, I was thinking Globetrotters, but the Wizards were fantastic. They put on a great show. Chief, thank you for being out there, Chief Sam.
What was the final score?
It was about 20 points. We stayed with them till
Came off the court, we were tied, and that's Ocean State. Thank you very much.
Yes, we had a good team. Our starting five was pretty strong, and y'all look good, did good. And
Coaching.
yeah, it was all the coaching. That's what it had to be. Then I had to ask Steve, how are we going to start this game? Because I'm not a basketball player. But anyway, it raised $2,000 for two organizations. Good cause. It was a lot of fun. I hate that it was on Valentine's, where we probably would have packed the house out. There was still almost, 175, 200 people there.
Yeah.
And so that was really a good turnout considering you had Neptune Parade going on in Biloxi and Valentine's to compete with.
84 to 66.
84 to 66 was the final score, so we hung with them pretty good. But also the night parade, I was honored to be the grand marshal in the night parade. It was a lot of fun, threw a lot of beads. And Alan, again, I'll reiterate the work y'all put in to clean up. You just don't, the mess was unbelievable. I think that was the biggest mess we had after a parade. And
I'm glad to see y'all out there.
Keep coming back, huh?
It looks fantastic out there now. People don't realize, those beads don't just blow with the blower. You've got to get out there with a rake and pluck them out of the flower beds and throw them out in the road so that you sweep them up. And Chief, thank y'all very much. I saw we didn't have any major issues that I know of, but the little bit that I saw, I thank y'all for handling it professionally and diffusing whatever sparked up. So thank y'all very much. We do have another exciting event this Saturday. Mr. Tillis is going to share his gumbo recipe with us to compete against all the other mayors on the coast in Gulfport on Saturday morning. So Saturday, if y'all are out and about, we'll be in Gulfport cooking gumbo and competing against the other mayors' teams along the coast. So,
Is it a festival?
I think, what was that?
Is it a festival?
It's just a mayor's gumbo cook-off. I don't know.
I use the public invite.
They are, yeah. Where, Cynthia, do you know right where it's gonna be?
I don't know where it is this year. It's usually at Centennial Plaza. And it's a cook-off where the different teams do it and they have other food and activities there, so.
Do you know what time, how many hours?
We don't know.
It's 11 to 2 is the gumbo part of it, portion of it. That's the part we've got to be there for. I think it's over with at 4. It goes till 4 o'clock and it'll be over, but.
And you can ticket and you can eat and taste.
That's what I was thinking.
But.
Now, you know, no self-respecting South Mississippian can cook gumbo in that amount of time.
Well, we might start early then.
Yeah, you better.
I think we had to be there at 6 to start cooking. So,
Yeah, 6.
it'll be bright and early. But anyway, we'll have our team out there and doing our best. I'm not the best cook, but I sure can eat and taste, that's for sure. I can judge it before we put it in the competition. But, all right, y'all.
I just got a text that is downtown Gulfport.
Downtown Gulfport. Okay, well, that's where we will be, downtown Gulfport. So, we've got executive session. I need a motion to.
Make a motion to go into closed session to consider the need of executive session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, need a roll call.
Aye.
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 Okay. That's good.
Bring me with you. Thank you.
I was trying to figure out how to turn the volume down because when you talk, it's like it is loud. It rattles the speakers in here.
Oh, that's nice.
I asked Matthew, he did turn it down a little bit. Yeah. Now I just moved the microphone a little bit. All right, we'll see you in the back.
It's on. All right, wait. Sorry. Okay, I have a motion to stay in executive session for purpose of a litigation update on Rosenberg versus Ocean Springs. Motion made by Rob Blackman, second by Matthew Hinton, and unanimously passed.